You have a thought, and you know it is true. You cannot say how you know, so you do the careful thing. You assume you are wrong. You decide you are the fool who knows too little to see his own foolishness. There is a name for that fool. Dunning-Kruger gave it to him, and quietly over the years you have decided the fool is you. Tonight we take that name apart, because you have turned it into a weapon, and you have been using it on yourself. First, let us be fair to the idea. The effect is real. A person with little skill in something cannot judge their own lack of skill. The reason is simple. The ability to do the task and the ability to rate the task are the same ability. Lose one, and you lose the other. So the unskilled feel sure. Their confidence is not arrogance. It is blindness wearing the face of certainty. You have read this, and somewhere in the reading a cold thought arrived. What if that is me? What if everything I think I see is just a man too unaware to know he sees nothing? Hold that thought. We are going to test it. Here is the question nobody asked you. There is more than one way to feel sure without proof. The first way is empty. You are confident because you cannot see what you are missing. The room is dark, and you call it clear. That is the effect. That is the fool. But there is a second way, and it is the opposite. You are confident because you have seen too much, not too little. Years of pattern have settled in you below speech. The knowing is real, the work is buried. You cannot show it because it was never written in words. Both states arrive without a citation. That is the only thing they share. One is a man in an empty room, the other is a man in a full room with the lights off. From the inside, in the dark, they can feel the same. They are not the same. Now, why would you, of all people, mix these up? Your mind does not think in a straight line you can read back. It gathers. It runs thousands of quiet comparisons under the floor of attention. Then it hands you a conclusion with no receipt. Carl Jung had a name for this. He called it introverted intuition. It perceives the pattern and discards the steps. For most of your life, this has been your gift in your isolation. You arrive at the end of a thought while others are still finding the start. And when they ask how, you have nothing to show them. So here is the trap. The culture gave you one word for sureness without proof, and only one. Dunning-Kruger, the empty room. It never gave you a word for the full room. So when the fraud feeling comes, you reach for the only name on the shelf. You call your fullness emptiness. You call your knowing arrogance. Not because it is true, because it is the only language you are handed. Stay with me, because this next part is where it turns. We have named the trap. Now we find out who set it, and why you keep walking back into it on purpose. This is the part you will not like. Somewhere you learned that seeing too much is dangerous. Speak the pattern before the room is ready and you pay for it. You are called arrogant, intense, too much. So you found a quieter way to survive. You doubt yourself first before anyone else can. You reach for the word fool and you place it on yourself gently like armor. If you are already the fool, no one can make you one. Dunning-Kruger stops being a theory. It becomes a shield. You hold a real idea up against it and let it deflect the idea away. A viewer wrote this to me and gave it his own name. He called it the Dunning-Kruger effect, the shield that makes you stupid on purpose to stay safe. And underneath all of it sits the oldest fear, the sense that you have seen something you were not meant to see. Prometheus stole fire, and the gods did not thank him. Part of you suspects your knowing is a kind of theft, so you hide it, even from yourself. So what is the work? It is not what you think. You will want to go and get proof, build the case, gather the credentials, earn the right to your own perception. That is the wrong road, and it never ends. The work is quieter. It is learning to tell the two rooms apart from the inside. The empty room has a texture, so does the full one. When the knowing is hollow, there is a grasping in it, a wish for it to be true. When the knowing is real, there is a strange calm, even when you cannot defend it. Most people never learn the difference. They were taught to trust only what they can show. You were built for the other task. The discernment between empty and full is itself the working. It is the receipt, written in a language only you can read at first. And then comes the bridge. The old druid trained for 20 years for a single skill. To carry what cannot be proven across into words that can be shared. The analogy, the image, the story that makes another person feel the pattern you already hold. That is not a lesser knowing. That is the knowing finally given a door. Hear this clearly, because it is the whole of it. The fraud feeling is a misreading. It is not a verdict. You are not the man in the empty room. You are the man in the full room, still reaching for the light. The fullness was never the problem. The silence around it was. There is no shame in a knowing that has not yet found its words. There is only work that has not yet been done. Quiet work. The tending of a perception until it can stand in daylight. You were not born wrong. You were born perceptive in a world that punishes perception. And the next stage was never proof. It was sovereignty. If any of this landed somewhere you do not yet have words for, that is the signal. Sit with it. And when you want the map for the work itself, you know where it waits. Before you go, I want to know one thing. When the fraud feeling arrives now, can you tell whether the room is empty or just dark? Leave it in the comments. Not as a performance, as an honest marker of where you actually stand. These become a record of the work, and that matters more than you might think. There are 7 Sigma INFJ archetypes, and each one carries a different gift, a different burden, a different mythic responsibility. The link in the description will take you to a free assessment that reveals yours. It takes about 3 minutes. The answer tends to land harder than people expect. The next video, the Sigma INFJ Seer, Why You Don't Feel Too Much, You See Too Clearly, follows the same thread into the Seer's burden. If this video named the doubt, that one names what it costs to see first and be believed last. And if you want to keep walking these threads with me, into the deeper psychology of the Sigma INFJ, into the archetypes the world has forgotten how to name, subscribe. There are far older and stranger things still to uncover. Until next time. Find your power. Know your myth.